Previously, Vegeta has revived the Saiyans at long last. They started a short war, but it was quickly ended. In that time, Cell became perfect and has announced the Cell Games. Check out the previous parts on the card above to catch up. The first team is Vegeta and Trunks. They opted to go in first to get stronger to get rid of Cell as soon as possible. Inside the time chamber, all hell broke loose with them trying to adapt, but once they did, it became a battle between life and death. Their emotions flared all around and they needed every ounce of willpower to get through. Eventually they did caught up and started the most intense training after getting used to the weird stuff that happens in there. They went into stage 2 and 3 Super Saiyan pretty easily and even learned to control the forms, but notice the flaw: speed. They were too slow in their strongest power-up, so they worked on the regular Super Saiyan form. They end up having bonding time, where they properly strategize every bit of training as well as talking normally. Trunks asked his father about the former Frieza force and how were they subdued. Vegeta says that he was the second Super Saiyan to exist and used that power to overthrow Frieza and King Cold. With that, he kept them around as subjects but turned to realize they needed peace from tyranny much like Saiyans did. And considering they just detained the androids, he had no real need to go and appoint his force to be a distraction for him. Trunks thinks for a bit, then comes to a sudden realization. The Dragon Balls, the changes in timeline, everything. Piccolo was never pressured into fusing, therefore they didn't need the Dragon Balls as fast, and by that time Vegeta already lost against now only the androids, but his entire force lost to the Rampage, so Trunks or even Gohan have never even seen it. It was intended to be kept hush-hush since Vegeta had no real reason to bring them along for revenge in the original timeline. As for the conception of Trunks, Vegeta was keeping things hush-hush for that as well, so he acted pretty normal. That acting soon turned into real affection and got along with Bulma, hence why it happened later than usual. The androids happened to have caused a whole string of changes to Vegeta's plans, and by extent, the entire timeline. Trunks thanks his father for helping him realize that piece of trivia, but Vegeta says to set the sentimentalities aside as they got work to do and so they get back to work. On the lookout, Goku and his parents began bonding a bit more. Gohan and Chi-Chi are on the lookout too, meeting their extended family for the very first time. Goku and Bardock end up in a light sparring session which is pretty one-sided to say the least, and he manages to put Bardock on the ground and helps him back up. Goku then senses a strange sense of familiarity as he grabs his dad's hand to help him up. Goku is trying to remember something but it's in a very gray haze. It does feel emotional and he steps up to ask exactly what happened to Planet Vegeta initially. So then Bardock went into a whole story time with Piccolo listening as well. Back to Vegeta and Trunks, they eventually figure out they need to utilize their Super Saiyan effectively, and since it's only a multiplier, training in base is the best course of action they could possibly get. In that time, they trained heavily and constantly, they barely slept, and they ate like crazy and used every ounce of willpower to prevail and get stronger. Eventually they come out and it's Goku and Gohan that are up next. Vegeta is tremendously more powerful than Canon thanks to figuring out the multiplier thing, which makes him much more on par with Goku once he emerges. As for Goku and Gohan, they do something similar like in Canon, but instead of training in their base, they train their Super Saiyan like in Canon. They master the form so much they can stay in it and make it like their base power. But only Goku knows the potential Gohan truly has and sticks to training him more than himself. They also emerge and everyone sees they haven't been fucking around either. Vegeta comments on their power-up and Goku takes the compliment, saying that he indeed is formidable now, but doesn't think even he can defeat Cell. So Vegeta commands Goku to go back in the time chamber with him to gain enough strength to overpower him, but Goku says not to, as it's just stressing the body and to go relax for a few days, confusing everybody. Piccolo and Bardock trained too, and Bardock got beefed up a lot. while Piccolo only got a slightly bigger boost in canon. During the wait for the Cell games, they're literally all just fucking around and hanging out. One moment they're at Capsule Corp, another moment at Kame House. Cell is just standing in his arena and waiting for the tournament to start. So once it starts, everyone that's usually there in canon is there, plus Bardock and Guinea. These two are just kind of there to spectate, as well as some Z fighters, while the other half is there to take the win and save Earth. Goku goes first, having been wished luck from his father. Goku does exactly like in canon, tries a few tricks, sees that it's pointless and appoints his son to do the fighting. Everyone is concerned for Goku's life naturally and Goku's sanity, weirdly, but Goku reassures him that it's alright and that Gohan is stronger than him anyways. Bardock defends his son and saying that even if he's putting fate of the planet into a child, he was still in the time chamber with him, not them. He definitely saw something they can't see and to let it happen. Goku smiles at his dad, and so Gohan enters the ring. That fight also evolves like canon until Cell Juniors appear, and this time there are two more for Bardock and Guinea, whom don't even stand a chance against them. Lucky for them, Cell Juniors are just toying with them to let Gohan release his anger, not to kill him. And this time, he nearly goes ballistic due to his grandparents being attacked, but holds back at the last moment, at just the nick of time. However, the scene with 16 still happens, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Due to the previous near rage moment, this transformation is just a little bit stronger, putting all emotions to work and ridding the planet of Cell Juniors. This time, Gohan is also playing a lot more with Cell and even starting to torture him into loss. Cell goes back to being semi-perfect and spits out Android 18, who is hibernating. While Krillin is taking 18 to safety and all, Gohan continues with the torture, not letting Cell even come close to being a live bomb like he did in canon, making Cell completely powerless and worn out. He squats beside Cell, taunting him and asking if he considered his current feelings to those of his victims to be partially the same, and if he even thought being the villain would be a good call, considering that Red Ribbon Army also did evil back in the day. Cell is literally on the verge of tears, trying all sorts of attacks on Gohan to no avail. Bardock then steps in, asking his grandson whether it's right to torture living beings as well, that he didn't know that he was the one for torture. That kind of gets Gohan back to his senses a bit, and Bardock calls for Goku to finish the job fully, so he cannot regenerate again. Goku is on the scene and starts walking towards Cell, but Gohan shoots his own father out of the way and does it himself, realizing what he's been doing all this time and wasting no time again. He kicks up Cell in the air and fires a giant Kamehameha engulfing Cell whole, leaving no trace of Cell. Gohan is at peace, knowing that he saved the world and can finally rest up, dropping out of Super Saiyan 2. Bardock is proud of his grandson. Goku is even more proud of his son, and to top it all off, Goku didn't even die this time. In fact, no one died in this whole fight. Guinea was heavily injured though, and was given a senzu like the rest of the fighters that fought against the juniors. Guinea and Bardock were impacted the most, since they're pretty weak compared to the rest, so their Zenkai, especially Guinea's, was big. The Dragon Balls are summoned and were used to restore the Earth to condition it was prior to Cell, meaning damage repair and revival of all humans that died. Android 17 was among them, and Android 18 was saved mid-fight, now set free from the tyranny of the Red Ribbon Army. During the 7-year time skip, Vegeta has built an amazing society on planet Vegeta. Bulma wanted to visit too, but she had to get used to 10 times normal gravity first, so she had to use her own invention to get to that point, using the gravity chamber to train in it. Yes, Bulma actually trained. The entire Saiyan race is now part of the Galactic Special Ops in a way, along with the former Frieza Force. They were appointed by a strange green tentacle guy to run the universe and keep it in check, being the superior warrior race. All the Saiyans, apart from Gohan, Goten and Trunks, are situated on Earth. Gohan has to go to high school, where he meets Videl. They start hanging out with the rest of her gang, and it becomes kind of clear to them that Gohan isn't really normal, but chooses to ignore that. Gohan isn't hiding behind a dumb costume either. He wears Piccolo's gi under the school uniform and turns Super Saiyan to deal with the bad guys. Due to his skills, Videl recognizes him as a formidable opponent for the next Tenkaichi Budokai. Stay tuned for the next part as I enter the Buu Saga and its events. Thank you for watching, and with that, peace out.